Which one we discussed?
Continue. I'll tell you later.
Not the balcony theory.
Yes, the balcony.
No, I don't want to talk about the balcony
No,
theory.
Talk about your...
Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello,
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
And welcome back to this week's episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Woo! God damn, we'd be recording a million episodes this
I know.
week.
We are literally, guys, we are recording after recording after recording.
Because we had to pre-record multiple episodes because I'm leaving next week
Where's be leaving me?
on a big business trip.
Oh, God damn,
It'd be
that's
for
true.
business.
What kind of business?
It ain't for pleasure. Actually, it's business and pleasure.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm going to Thailand
Ooh.
and Vietnam.
Oh, God damn.
And I decided to do, so basically Thailand and Vietnam is, if you guys don't know, it's with this company that does these tours. And we're doing like a vegan food tour, and a few of my, viewers are coming along with me, which is very exciting.
That is exciting.
And then, so I'm doing Thailand first, and then I have a few days of my own time, and then going to Vietnam. It should be exciting. And then I decided on my way back from Vietnam, I'm going to stop by Singapore, which is my fourth home.
God damn, it is your fourth home because your first
I got-
home be
Actually, no. First home be South Korea,
second,
Canada,
third, Italy,
Italy.
Fourth.
Oh, Singapore. And then fifth was the UK. I got 5 homes. I'll be a global citizen. Anyway, I did a study abroad in Singapore.
Yeah.
Back in 2011.
Oof,
So it's been
11
11 years. And it's been 11 years since I've been to Asia, which is so crazy to me.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
It's been 11 years. So I'm
Why
going
have you
back
waited so long to go there, Rose?
I don't know. I've been in Europe, I went to Africa. I went to South America. Well, just Brazil.
Yeah.
But still,
So,
I went to, I was exploring other places in the world. Asia's so far, especially Southeast Asia.
It is. That's the thing. It's like
Oh, I'm not looking forward to that long ass flight.
it's like for us to get to Europe, it's quite fast. Well, not quite fast,
It
but
is
like
fast compared to,
yeah.
like Asia. For example, I have to go, like if I were to go to Europe, we can just fly to the UK and it'll take 9 hours. It's still long.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get me wrong.
But it's just direct
9
flight.
to 10 hours. We can get a direct flight.
Yeah.
And if we were to go anywhere else in Europe, it might be one layover or something.
Yeah.
To get to Thailand, I'm going to Bangkok first. To get there, I have to go from here, Calgary to Vancouver, Vancouver to Tokyo.
Yep. I did this
And then
exact
I have
flight.
Did you?
Yeah,
And
this
then I
is
have a
my exact
layover
flight,
in
yeah.
Tokyo. Then I go, and that's like already from Vancouver to Tokyo is like 9 something hours. And then from Tokyo to Bangkok is another 6.5
Yeah,
hours.
6 hours. Yeah.
So that is like, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That
And
is
it's
a lot.
It's a lot of stops. I did the exact same flight. It was crazy.
Back, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I flew Calgary to Vancouver. Then I had a layover overnight in Vancouver.
Oh my God, an overnight
Yeah.
layover.
Luckily, my friend was there though, so I stayed with my friend.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I remember arriving with my backpack, and me and my friend went out drinking right away, and so I had to like put my backpack under like a table or something.
Of course you did, Daniel.
Yeah.
Totally sounds like something you do.
Yeah. As I'm going on to my backpacking trip, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to get enough drinking on that, like. And then I flew from Vancouver because Vancouver's like the hub to go to Asia.
It really is. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of Asians, I think they kind of settle in Vancouver.
Yeah,
Just because it's very easy to fly to Asia.
Because I think from Vancouver there's a lot of direct flights.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like right on the Pacific.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you can go to like Hong Kong,
Yeah.
Japan. I can't even.
Japan?
I was gonna say Tokyo and Japan, but it was coming out
Yeah.
I couldn't speak. So, whereas Calgary's a hub for nothing.
Well, there were more direct flights, I think, that started to become a thing, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those direct flights kind of like disappeared or something.
Yeah.
I don't really know what happened.
Well, I still think, and I could be wrong. Like this is again just one of my
Theories,
unproven hypotheses. But
which you have a lot of, Daniel.
I do.
Let's discuss one of those in a second.
Which one we discussed?
Continue. I'll tell you later.
Not the balcony theory.
Yes, the
No,
balcony.
I don't want to talk about the balcony
No,
theory.
Talk about your thing first, Daniel.
But I think overall, I think that travel has picked up, but I still think it's not at pre-pandemic levels, right?
I don't know. Well, it might not be because
I think there's still some people scared.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Who be scared?
There be people out there.
I don't think people are necessarily scared because of COVID. I mean, I'm sure there are some people scared of COVID, but I think it's probably also cost of living. Things are expensive.
Yeah, that's
Traveling
true.
is expensive. I mean, everything's expensive. So obviously, if people are like, on a budget, they're not going to travel.
Yeah.
And I think it feels maybe busier. I don't know. This is an unproven theory.
Yeah.
It may be feeling busier because these airlines are a mess right now and they're
Yeah.
understaffed.
Yeah.
So I feel like the airports look really busy, whereas it's more so an understaffing issue. But I could, hypothesis.
These are unproven theories, guys.
So let's talk about Daniel's unproven theory of the balcony theory. Did we talk about?
I don't know if we did, but we can
let's
go
talk
through
about
it.
this and then we do Patreon shout outs. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, I have a theory, guys, and
You had a theory,
I had a
and I
theory.
disproved it for you.
Well, it's been disproven potentially. But when we were walking around downtown, we walked past a few buildings and there was like a lot of balconies where specifically we walked past my old building that I lived in. And I was like, those little fuckers. Because they were trying to increase my rent because they were like, oh, this building's in such high demand, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look at all the balconies. They're empty. Like, I bet you this thing's at like half vacancy rate because all of these freaking empty balconies. And as we're walking, there's like more and more apartment buildings that have like, a handful of like vacant or what I thought was vacant.
So like no furniture on the balconies.
Yeah.
Turns out that theory completely wrong.
Yeah.
Because I said, listen, just because there's no furniture on the balconies doesn't mean it's
Who has nothing on their balcony?
A lot of people, a lot of men probably, like single men. Come on, a lot of people don't use balcony space. I don't know.
That's true, I guess.
For example, I mean, some people might look at because I have 2 balconies, but some people might look at my front balcony and see nothing on there and think it's empty.
Yeah, but then they can maybe see in the window and see they got a bunch of stuff.
Were you looking into everyone's windows, Daniel? Anyway, wrong, because apparently Calgary, which again we didn't know. Literally last year, it was probably a completely different number.
Oh, it was crazy.
But it says, property management company says vacancy rate in city is less than 1%. It says Calgarians feel financial squeeze, anxiety amid virtually impossible rental market. What is happening?
Like, how is it all of a sudden? But what I don't understand is that
that's everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm like, where have all these people come from?
I think what the crazy thing is, to us, it's crazy because for me, it's like, for example, buying a house is such a big deal, right? It's not. I feel like I know that there will be some discrepancies depending on the market, right? So like number of people buying houses, but I never thought it would be such a huge amount based on, for example, interest rates going up and down a few percent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you really wanted to buy a house and if you really needed to buy a house at that moment, like, does it really change that much? But apparently it does.
Yeah.
As in, like, literally last year, everyone was overbidding when it comes to buying a house. Everyone was like, if you had a house on the market last year, it would be gone in like less than a week.
Yeah, it was
right?
crazy.
And then now, apparently, it's very hard to sell a house because of these. Maybe it's because of the interest rates, but now apparently everyone's renting. I have no idea. I'm
so confused.
I'm also confused.
Because even just like last year, it was like, well, not last year, maybe the year before, they were offering like so many rental incentives.
Yes.
Like they were desperate to get people in buildings. And now we're at a 1% vacancy. Like how? Like where? Like, and it doesn't make sense that it changed so fast.
I know.
It would be different if it was like over time. Like maybe we were at like a 10% vacancy before, and then it went down to 8 and down to 7. And
I
then
wonder
down
what
to
it was
5.
last year.
Like you could probably look up the stat. Like I don't understand like how it's flipped so quickly. That's what's crazy to me.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
It says rent prices going through the roof as inflation soars, but then that also doesn't necessarily make sense because then
I feel like that everyone's blaming things going up on inflation.
everything's
as well.
under inflation.
They're like, oh, like I think I said it on this podcast before, but we were getting into one of the Stampede tents during Stampede. Did I tell you this story? And we got in, and to get in, it was it was like $25 or $30. And
it was
then,
like a 10-minute inflation.
Yeah. And then later, like 10 minutes later, one of our colleagues and his partner were trying to get in, and they were like, oh yeah, by the way, the tickets are $40 or something. And my friend was like literally, I know that everyone else just got in and they told me it was $30.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, inflation, all this stuff. And I'm like, you cannot say that
I know,
at that
it's
event.
crazy.
Like,
that's insane.
what the actual fuck?
So it says here, I just Googled, why has rent increased so much? It says consider this from NPR listed rents are up 15% nationwide and as much as 30% in some cities. At the same time, I don't know what that means. At the same time, inflation and rising interest rates are pricing many buyers out of the housing market. So it is right, as in people that maybe wanted to buy, I guess they're like, I can't buy anymore because of rising costs. And also, and maybe because last year the housing market, the prices has been inflated last year when everyone was selling their houses. Look at us talking about fucking economics like we know what we're talking about.
I know,
my theory is, I mean, it's not necessarily my theory. It says here, it's like because the houses are now no longer affordable, that plus it's already like, again, become so much more expensive, right? Compared to, because like literally last year.
But I guess my question would be like, okay, for that couple or whoever that was thinking of buying a place that's priced out of the market now, but where were they living before? Do you know what I mean? Were they not renting or like I
don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
maybe they sold. Again, who knows? Right?
Yeah.
That's what's crazy because I'm like, that means things are happening at such a fast, like in a large scale.
Yeah, because it's not
just like a one couple that's like, oh my God, I wanted to buy a house and then I couldn't.
It's a mass scale.
It's like everyone wanted to apparently buy a house.
But I think it's because a lot of people too, they were trying to overextend themselves. So that difference, like for us, like we were
that's
like,
what I'm saying though.
Yeah, like for us, we're like, oh, we got stuff well within our budgets, right?
Yeah.
But like some people were like stretched. They were like trying to stretch the max, and because of that increase of the mortgage rate, they now can't afford certain things they were thinking.
But you're right. Where were they living? Were they living with their parents?
But that's what I'm thinking. But that's why I'm like, it doesn't add up. Like, is it like maybe some people? Well, I guess if a lot of people sold their houses and then became renters.
But like how many? I think there were probably a significant number of people that did.
Also, I heard a lot of people, and this is where I think it could change rapidly. Is if we have a lot of immigration. So like not even outside of Canada, but like from Toronto and Vancouver, people moving here.
They say the same thing is happening. And I don't know about Vancouver, but I've heard the same thing is happening in Toronto, as in rental prices are going crazy.
Yeah, fuck, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Guys,
it's the same thing happening in fucking like.
I give up.
Anyway, who knows? Let's do Patreon shoutouts.
Yes.
Guys, if you don't know, we have a Patreon page where basically we do exclusive content every month. Daniel and I, we already recorded our September exclusive.
We did, yeah.
So that's going to be up in September. We already have an August exclusive.
That's already live.
So that's some juicy content for you guys. Ooh, the August exclusive. We spill some tea. So if you guys want to check out our Patreon, you also get all the episodes ad-free and a week earlier than everybody else. So definitely check it out.
How much it costs?
It start at only $3 a month.
God damn, that'd be
you
cheap.
Can't buy nothing for $3 a month.
Not with inflation these days,
God damn,
guys.
it'd be a fucking avocado. Anyway.
Not even. Avocado's like $6 now.
Oh God, it's so ridiculous. So we have a couple of shout outs.
Yes.
New patrons. Thank you so much to Florina,
I think, and Anna.
Thanks guys so much for joining, and for everyone that has already joined, thank you. And for the future patrons, thank you very much.
Yes.
So shall we start with our first story?
Oh God damn.
I guess we already kind of talked about the first story of fucking rent being crazy as hell and disproving Daniel's balcony theory.
You know what, guys? I think that in some cities, my balcony theory might hold true. Okay, maybe just not in Calgary.
Blame Calgary for everything.
Because I mean, I'm just shocked. Like, I mean, how does somebody not even have a chair?
Maybe
on their
they
balcony?
just moved in, because again, the rent is crazy right now. So you may be right.
Yeah.
As in, they haven't fully had a chance to
put their stuff on the balcony.
Stuff out yet. Yeah. Or maybe they're just so rent has gone up so much that they can't afford balcony furniture.
This is true.
Balcony furniture is not cheap, my friends.
So patio, because I was gonna get patio furniture. I have already 2 chairs, but I was gonna get like a little chaise lounge, not a chaise lounge, sectional.
Yeah.
Fuck, they're so expensive. I was like, hey, and then
it's not cheap.
No, I'm waiting now until because things are gonna go on sale because it's getting winter.
That's the thing.
That's what I'm gonna buy.
Totally, because now, and also the thing is, here in our city, like our summers are nice. Don't get me wrong, but they are short. So it's like some people might not think it's worth getting balcony furniture to use like for 2 months out of the year.
God damn.
Anyway, guys, apparently we're going to talk about something fucking devastating.
Oh God. So, guys, as you know, we are very much not proponents. What am I trying to say? Very much believers. Not believers. What am I trying to say? Like
we're trying to say,
like we believe in like climate change is a thing. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also not based on belief systems.
No,
exactly.
But
I mean, that's
it's
what people
based on proven fact.
And apparently there is a horrific flood.
Well, there's floods.
Didn't this happen a while ago?
I think it's been continually going on.
Because I heard about it. But the problem is also, I feel like we're not talking about this enough. So in Pakistan, there is a widespread flood that I guess has been going on for some time.
Yeah.
And it said, since mid-June. Yes, I definitely heard about this. It has, deaths from this flood has topped 1,000 people since mid-June.
And I know, like, I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong about this, guys, but like, I think, like Pakistan does experience like monsoon types of rain. I think that's, you know, some of the like I know in India they get some of that and some of these other places, but I think this is like more than what they're used to, right?
Like I'm sure it's not 1,000 people dying from this shit every year, which is so bad. And I don't like, are we even talking about this in Western media? Like,
I don't know. I didn't really know too much about it, to be honest.
Well, that's crazy. That's the thing. Like let me just go on a little rant for a second.
Yeah.
In our Western worldview, okay, we think we're the center of the universe.
Yes.
When something happens in, for example, North America or Europe, if you like, let's say, you know, if something bad happens, if you don't talk about it or like, you know, you don't address it, people think you're like, you know, like if you're an influencer, for example, it's like you have to talk about these things. Yeah. But then things like this happen in other parts of the world and nobody talks about it. Anyway, that's just a little annoying thing.
God damn it.
It's like we should be aware of this just as much as we should be aware of anything else that's happening.
Exactly.
Anyway,
listen to this quote here. So we are at the moment at the ground zero of the front line of extreme weather events in an unrelenting cascade of heat waves, forest fires, flash floods, multiple glacial lake outbursts. I think this contributed to all the like flooding and everything else.
Yeah.
Flood events, and now monster monsoon of the decade is wreaking nonstop havoc throughout the country. And
it's so sad because it's already like, you know, an impoverished country.
Yeah.
That where they probably don't have, you know, all of the resources and things already. And people are already suffering in Pakistan.
They're saying they're asking for international aid, and they're saying 33 million people so far have been impacted. That's like the entire population of Canada.
33 million people have been impacted by the floods. Yeah. That's 15% of Pakistan's whole population.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking sad. Like what? And it's still happening. Like what is happening? There's also a huge flood in Korea as well. I don't like. It's not as bad as this. Like it's definitely like 1,000 people dying. Like that's fucking insane. But yeah, in Korea there was like a big flood in Seoul.
Yeah.
Let me see what happened.
Like what is gonna happen to our planet, Rose?
I don't know.
Like this kind of shit, like guys, I know we always like, well, we don't always talk about it, but we do talk about it quite often, and it's like, what is legitimately actually gonna happen?
I don't know. It's
in
fucking
the next
scary.
couple of years.
Like it's actually scary.
Like, God
it
damn.
says on August 8th, 2022, large-scale floods hit the capital of South Korea, Seoul, and surrounding areas. It was preceded by the highest rainfall in 80 years. 2,800 buildings have been damaged, and at least 9 people have been killed. 163 people in Seoul have been made homeless. And then people compared it to, you know that scene in Parasite when it rains, and then you see like the semi-basement homes getting flooding?
Yeah.
Like that's literally what happened in Korea. But obviously it's not as bad as what happened in Pakistan. But I mean, it's obviously a global issue. And unfortunately, we know that these less fortunate countries they're going to suffer more. They're going to suffer the most.
Yeah.
And we're the ones doing most of the damaging.
I know. This is what's so
like
fucked up.
We're actually fucked.
Because I remember I was watching this thing and they were talking about, it was like kind of a high up person in India, I think it was. And they were interviewing him. And they're talking about climate change and everything else. And you know, they're like talking about how like, you know, India's burning a lot of fossil fuels, contributing a lot to like the ozone and, you know, all this other shit. And then the guy was like, he's like, you know why we're doing this? Because we're producing goods for you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of your countries like Canada, US, all this, like we're getting lots of products and everything from like China and India. And at the same time, we're turning around and being like, those guys are contributing too much to, you know, to the climate change. They're not, you know, watching their emissions. But at the same time, we're demanding such a vast quantity of goods from them.
Right.
That they're producing it like at a mass scale.
Well, I mean, everyone's to blame. Yeah. Right. Like it's also the companies in these countries that are greedy as well.
Yeah.
Because like they could have regulations, but they don't. Yeah. That's why our countries go to those places for the cheap goods.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why they also have, you know, like horrible labor laws and things like that. So I don't want to fully be like India's off the hook. It's all North America's fault.
No, it's
it's a global issue, and you know,
you can't just blame. It's not just one person's problem.
Totally.
It's like the whole. Yeah. And this is the problem, and this is what makes me so anxious, I guess, about climate change and about global warming and everything. In order for us to come up with a solution, we have to unite as a globe. And like, that's just like, at least in my opinion, guys, and maybe I'm like a negative Nancy here, but I'm like, how is that ever going to happen?
Oh God.
We can't even come together on little things.
On masks.
How the fuck are we going to come together as a united front of a world to deal with this shit?
I don't know, Daniel. I think we just go.
It's just going to get worse and worse.
It's going to get worse and worse.
Like
every week we're like, it's a record flood.
It's a record breaking thing. Like
it's a record breaking heat.
This is crazy, guys. Like
Anyway, so that happened. That's so sad. I can't even imagine like what that feels like.
Well, and just think about it after the aftermath, like cleaning up the mess and picking up all the pieces. Like,
and also, we don't even know. It says 1,000 people died. And when it comes to floods like this, they probably have so many missing as well. Like,
oh, yeah.
We don't know how many people actually died. It's probably a lot more.
Yeah, because they just get swept under the waters.
Oh, God. Oh, I can't think of anything worse.
Oh, my goodness. It's actually bad.
Let's not talk about it.
Oh, God. Let's move on to a little bit.
But it's important to know. Sure. I don't know if, this part's lighthearted.
Yeah. So, guys.
Queen Britney.
our queen and savior.
The Princess of Pop.
The Princess of Pop has just released a new single, guys. Hold Me Closer. Well, it's a collaboration with
Elton John.
With Sir Elton John.
God damn.
And it's her first single or her first like new track in like 6 years. And I think it's her first one that she's released since she's no longer part of the conservatorship.
Yes.
So that's, I think, the big landmark here is everyone's like, oh my God, like this is amazing. This is Britney's first return to music after now no longer being part of the conservatorship.
So it's her, basically.
Yeah. So people are like, wow, like this is awesome. I don't know. I'm always going to be a Britney fan at heart.
Okay? Oh, love her.
Love me some Britney. And I'm really hoping that this signifies that she's going to be releasing an album. On her own terms, though.
Yeah.
Like if she wants to, obviously, Britney, no pressure. If you're listening to our podcast, I know we got a pretty big audience out there. So, but I really hope that it means she's releasing some new songs.
Did you hear the song? It's called "Hold Me Closer."
Yeah, hold me closer, tiny dancer.
I haven't actually. So I was actually listening to Britney yesterday or the day before. I went for a run. I was playing the "This Is Britney"
playlist.
Yes, the Spotify playlist. And iconic songs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this song came up and I was like, isn't this Elton John?
Yeah.
And I think I skipped it because I was like, oh, it's a song I don't know. I just skipped it.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the new song.
It's a new song, and it's gone #1, I guess, in like tons of places, which is awesome. And I think it's nice because it gives Britney that like little bump, like that she needs.
A little bit of confidence, but unfortunately, well, I don't know if this is unfortunate, but she also released right. Maybe yesterday or or today, even a few hours ago. I think it was yesterday. She released some kind of 22-minute audio recording, which apparently she deleted right after.
She's been. She also like deleted her Instagram. Like there's some.
She's still going. Like this girl needs some help. Okay?
There's some stuff going on.
Yeah, I feel really bad for her. So she apparently posted a 22-minute audio clip to YouTube on Sunday.
Yeah.
In which she addressed her conservatorship and alleged abuse she says she was put through by her family. I can't even imagine this poor girl, man.
And I think also too, like I didn't watch the 22-minute video, but we kind of got a glimpse of it when she remember that during the trial,
like a court hearing. Yeah.
During the court hearing, she spoke on her behalf and went through like tons and tons of stuff that she experienced and everything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So basically, some of the things that she says is she talked about a time where she was sent to a facility where she has 6 units of blood drawn on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I have no idea. And then I think she also accused basically her entire family of being so fucking and apparently Lynn Spears, Britney's mom, seemed to respond to the audio recording with a post on her Instagram account saying, "Britney, your whole life I have tried my best to support your dreams and wishes. And also I have tried my best to help you out of hardships. I have never and will never turn my back on you. Your rejections to the countless times I have flown out and calls made me feel hopeless. I have tried to everything. I love you so much, but this talk is for you and me only, eye to eye in private." Because I guess she's like calling out her mom as well for kind of like, being whatever. I think she said something along the lines of like, it's kind of crazy that I see all these people on the street like fighting for my freedom, yet like me and my mom and my sister are not doing anything, something like this.
So she kind of like said they weren't maybe like directly involved, but like they were involved by proxy. You know what I mean? Because they didn't do anything, right? Like,
fair.
Yeah.
Because like her mom was incredibly involved when she was, at the height of her fame.
Yeah.
She was always by her side. I remember because she was probably getting a lot of money from it.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden in this conservatorship, her mom, doesn't help her get out of it. I don't know. It's crazy.
I still think it's just like kind of nuts when you think about the fact that she was in that conservatorship for
so long.
Yeah. And because like the whole point, and there was a really good point made about a conservatorship, like typically someone that's in a conservatorship, like they're not working, like they're not supporting people.
Yeah.
She had a whole team that her working was like making tons of money.
Yeah.
It's like, why would that person be in a conservatorship?
Exactly.
Like, if they can go to work and do all those things, it doesn't make any sense. Exactly. Like you're saying they're not compos mentis to do their,
It's so crazy. It says, it was all premeditated. This is what she said. A woman introduced the idea to my dad, and my mom actually helped him follow through and made it all happen. So no wonder she doesn't want to talk to her mom anymore. It was basically all set up. There were no drugs in my system, no alcohol, nothing. It was pure abuse. And then what else? She still doesn't understand what she did wrong back in 2008. 2008. When Jamie Spears, her father, first convinced a judge to create the conservatorship. She also recounted what it was like to work and live under the arrangement and shared more details about when she was allegedly forced into a mental health treatment center. So all of this stuff, like, it's just... Anyway, it's crazy. I'm sure I think the clip is out there somewhere. I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah.
But basically... Yeah, I mean, God, it's sad. It's sad because she's probably still dealing with all the mental health stuff from this whole thing. It says, Spears says she was hospitalized for something, and then she was completely traumatized, and then she had to quickly go back to work after that, making a guest appearance on How I Met Your Mother, which I remember.
Yeah.
And starting...
She was like Abby, the receptionist or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just starting production on her 6th studio album. And she said, I remember this line. All I do remember is that I had to do what I was told. I was told I was fat every day. I had to go to the gym. They made me feel like nothing, and I went along with it because I was scared. Oh my God.
That's so sad.
Anyway, poor Britney. The video's out there. I think it's on YouTube if you search Britney Spears, like 22-minute clip or something.
Unless she took it down, right?
I think somebody else posted it.
This is another lesson, guys. Whatever you put online, you can't take that shit down, okay?
It's forever.
Someone's got a copy of it somewhere the instant you post it on there.
Especially when you're Britney Spears.
Yeah, well.
Nobody care what I put online.
You'd be surprised. I bet you some people have some of your videos saved.
Excuse me, rude.
It's a true story.
All right, next story. So this is a big one.
This is a really big one.
People are talking about it like crazy.
The people are like...
There's drama.
So much drama.
So much drama. So President Biden... Okay, American news, guys. American news.
Yep.
President Biden announced a student loan relief for borrowers.
For what, sorry, Rose?
Borrowers. What a difficult word.
Yep.
Who needed most.
Yeah.
So what I heard, again, this is probably very much simplifying it, and I think it'll probably say more information on this article. But what I heard is that he's giving like a $10,000 relief. That's going to be for most people, I think.
Yeah, he said basically. So according to this article, there's a 3-part plan to deliver. Apparently, we can't talk today, guys. It's not a good idea to record a podcast. President Biden believed.
Oh my God!
I can't even.
Shake it off, Daniel. Shake it off. Okay.
Okay. A 3-part plan delivers on President Biden's promise to cancel. So basically, to offer relief for up to $10,000 or to around $10,000 of student debt for low to middle income borrowers.
Yes.
So Biden believes that post high school education should be a ticket to a middle class life, but for too many, the cost of borrowing for college is a lifelong burden that deprives them of that opportunity, which is so true.
It's very true,
especially in the U.S. because tuition is so expensive there.
That's like the main problem.
Yeah.
So they should probably also address that.
Exactly. It's like literally some of those universities is like $100,000 a year.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Which is fucking insane.
It says here that since 1980, the total cost of both 4-year public and 4-year private college has nearly tripled. Okay, even after accounting for inflation. That's after accounting for inflation. So the price has tripled.
Yeah.
And it says federal support has not kept up. Pell Grants were once covered nearly 80% of the cost of 4-year public college degree for students from working families. As in, if you got what is called a Pell Grant. I remember I listened to this podcast that kind of talked about like the history of student loans. It was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway. Pell Grants used to cover nearly 80%, but now only cover a third, leaving many students from low to middle income families with no choice but to borrow if they want to get a degree. So you have to borrow so much money that even if you have a good job after, which is already hard to do because a lot of people already have a university degree now, that's also a different thing.
This is like now at the market's getting more because, you know, more so in our parents' generation, it was like if you got a degree, there was less people that got degrees. So it was more of a like, you know,
it was more prestigious.
It was more prestigious, and it did guarantee, or not guarantee, but it like helped you achieve.
Much more likely so.
Exactly. Whereas when we graduated, like everybody fucking got a degree now. Now people are saying you have to get your master's, and everybody's getting their master's. It's like we're getting, which is good and bad. It's like a good thing that there's, you know, educated people are getting educated, but bad because the reality is there's only so many jobs, right? So like you can get the best degree ever and be like the smartest person in the class, and you might not fucking get a job, you know, like, and then you could be burdened with all this debt depending on how much you had to take out. Like, it's actually crazy.
Yeah. So it says, the skyrocketing cumulative federal student loan debt, $1.6 trillion and rising for more than 45 million borrowers, is a significant burden on America's middle class. Middle class borrowers struggle with high monthly payments and ballooning balances that make it harder for them to build wealth, like buying homes, putting away money for retirement, etc.
It's a snowball effect, right? Like, it's like if you get out of the gate. And this is, again, really where, you know, privilege and stuff really comes in, because it's like if you get out of the starting gate and you're burdened with such a large amount of debt right from the get-go, it is going to take you longer to do everything. If you can even do those things, depending on how big your debt is and stuff, like it can really cause a lot of challenges and issues. And that's why those that, you know, are fortunate enough to have their families be able to pay for it and stuff, that is an extra privilege that you're getting. So when you graduate, you don't have all that debt, but not everyone has that.
Exactly.
So
and I mean, they should also address this crazy cost of tuition, which is so crazy. But I mean, overall good thing. It says today Biden announced a 3-part plan to provide more breathing room to America's working families as they continue to recover from the strains associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. It says provide targeted debt relief to address the financial harms. Okay, so something about financial harms of the pandemic, and then make the student loan system more manageable. I don't exactly know but yeah, he's forgiving some of the loans, which is good. And then some people are like, oh my God, you're just getting handouts from the government. And all these old people, man, it really pisses me off. These old people that when they went to fucking college in 1930 or 1940,
it was free.
It was like, I mean, it was maybe not free, but it cost like barely anything compared to what it is now. And they're like, well, I paid for my own college tuition, or like my parents paid for mine. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Your parents paid for yours because it was affordable at the time. Not everyone can pay for their own fucking college.
But this is it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, especially if you look at like the average salary now in anywhere like America or whatever, look at it, the average salary in America versus tuition costs. And like, depending on and I know there's some schools that are a little bit cheaper and whatever else, but it's like, it's tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to do a degree, right? Like, and that's like not manageable for a lot of people.
That's the thing. And also that's coupled with, so we're not only, for example, we talked about it like how more people have university degrees because we've been told that we have to get degrees to get jobs, which in many cases you're sure. And I see a value in education. So I am a proponent of higher education. But so not only do more people have, higher education, which makes it more competitive in the market. And as you said, there's not enough jobs out there. Yeah. So it's going to be harder and harder for you to get those high paying jobs because there's more people that have degrees. So that's already more difficult. Secondly, the wages are not keeping up with the cost of living in general. Right? Like we always talk about, housing costs, rental costs, cost of living, cost of products, like things like this are not, it's not matching with inflation. Yeah. It's much higher than inflation. So that's already, so it's more expensive to live in general. And then tuition is 3 times the amount. What the fuck?
I know. It's
so
like
please, boomers, sit the fuck down.
I know. It's like a problem that's just getting exacerbated.
Exactly. Like
it's just getting worse and worse and worse, right? Like as inflation goes up, living costs goes up, all of this stuff, and then it's making everything more unaffordable for everyone. Like, eventually, we're gonna get squeezed out of the markets.
Oh God! And then it's even 10K. I feel like it's probably not even enough for a lot of people, but at least it'll probably help some people. Yeah. And
isn't it sad that we're saying like 10K is like nothing nowadays?
I know, but like think about how much. That's exactly. But like think about how much people are taking out, right? 10K is like Probably not even like a year.
Yeah. I think some people that were like proponents against this were like pissed off because like maybe they had just paid off their student loans.
I know, I understand
and
that.
Then they're like,
yes,
I paid that
annoying,
off. Like,
but also it's like, so basically you suffered, so you think everyone else should suffer, essentially.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
I get it. Maybe it should have happened earlier.
Yeah.
And then you would have been happy.
Yeah.
Come on, let's have a little empathy here.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe there could be other programs, and some people are saying they should just give like 10K to everybody. I mean, sure, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, and yeah, it fucking sucks. But would I complain about it? Would I be like, oh my God, like nobody else should get that because I didn't get that?
Yeah.
Things change. We do things and we realize that, you know, the errors of the past and we, you know, we make the society better.
It's just crazy. It's crazy how like I even think about like when we were in school and like our tuition wasn't like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Like it was still like pretty decently expensive, but it wasn't like crazy. And like even I remember one of my cousins in the UK, when he went to uni, it was like right around the time it was like £3,000 a year or something.
Oh, and then they tripled it.
And then my next cut, like his brother or sister, I think it was his brother, when he went, it was 3 times. It was £9,000. Yeah.
Insane. I don't even know who allowed that to happen.
I know.
How's that allowed? They tripled it in like a year. I remember this because I think we were living in the UK at the time.
Yeah, it was when we were
and
there.
I remember it was like a big talk because it was, it was like 3K and then all of a sudden next year they tripled it.
Yeah.
How? That's crazy.
Because they said that it had been like protected from like, you know, increased costs and whatever
and
for so long.
all of a sudden they're like, nope.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me. It like blows my mind. Like I wonder how much it is tuition at UFC now.
It's definitely more than what we paid.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I remember what we paid at the time was about $500 a class.
Yeah.
So that was
$2,500 a semester.
Yeah. So about $5,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's not cheap.
No.
But, you know, like
it's manageable. Yeah.
Like you can still,
at the
like,
time, it was
worked
manageable.
And, you know, yeah, we worked and you could work in the summer and pay it off potentially.
Yeah.
But, you know, it depends on your situation as well at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, some people maybe like we live in the city, so we went to school in the city, so obviously that saves a lot of cost. But
imagine if we didn't like stay with our parents.
Yeah, because then that would cost so much extra, right? But yeah, it's gotten crazy, and you know, in some countries, in Europe, for example, university is free. I want to live in those countries.
Yeah, but I mean that in itself, I mean it's good. I don't want to knock that at all, but then it's like. Again, you're running into this problem where if you're putting so much pressure on education and you have too many people funneling through the system, it's good in some ways because I do think education is important, but at the same time, there's just like if you're going that route, but I guess if it's free, it's not as like pressing.
I don't think they're like making everyone go to university necessarily, but I think they're giving you that opportunity. And the thing is about these countries, it's not just university education. They probably do. They still have a high social safety net. Yeah. So even if you can't get a job, you know, it's like these countries are usually known for, you know, like having a high social safety net. And even for the lower paying jobs, they're still making pretty decent income.
I met this, a couple girls, like Norwegian girls when I was traveling. And
What's it like being from a perfect country?
Oh my God. I know. I mean, I'm sure that Norway has its own problems.
I'm sure they do.
But honestly, they were telling me that like, I guess, and I don't know if it's still the case, guys, because this was like many years ago I was traveling, but they were telling me that like in Norway, like obviously when you go to university there, it's free. But also if you're a Norwegian and you're going to come back to Norway, you can go travel, like study abroad and it gets paid for by the government.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
God damn, what's it like living in such a good country?
I know. But you know, the issue... They
have a very small population as well.
They do. They have a very small population and they're very resource rich, right?
Yes.
So they're very similar to us. But like one of the things that they did that was kind of smart that we didn't do is like... with their, because they have a lot of oil and gas reserves as well, is they purposely they put a lot of the profits that were happening from the oil and gas industry into like a reserve fund. Yeah. Because what their whole philosophy is like they didn't want to overheat the economy. Yeah. And even when things go down and stuff, they might like put some money back into the economy, but they'll never like put too much to like overheat it. So it kind of like they get less like boom and bust cycles. And because they've been so smart with it, they literally have the world's largest sovereign fund, I think. Yeah. Like something crazy.
They have like a crazy amount per person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like fine.
Yeah.
But they actually take care of their citizens. And also it's I think they're the way that they probably see it, in my opinion, maybe there's some Norwegians out there, is that oil is not a private business entity.
This is a
country, like it shouldn't be owned by anybody.
Exactly.
Realistically.
Well, and when it becomes a necessity,
Yes.
Like, and it's something that like, it's a product, like it's not like a Fitbit watch or like a, one of these things where it's like, no, you don't really need it. It's something that you buy if you really want to. But I actually saw a TikTok about this and it was about in the UK, because the UK is experiencing, and well, globally you're experiencing this anyway, but in the UK, they're talking about like the energy bills there. And apparently they're like
they're fucked in the winter.
Yeah.
I heard.
Yeah.
They're gonna be fucked.
They're getting so crazy. And
Yeah.
so many people are like putting pressure on the government to say, like, hang on here. Like these energy companies are recording like the last couple of years record profits. Record profits, right? Like you have these huge multi-billion-dollar companies, and yet now you're saying that the price is going up even more.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. It's like, well, maybe these really big companies that are making billions, they need to like scale back a bit, and like, but that's never going to happen, right? Like the government has to kind of step in and be like, you know what? Actually, we're going to put a cap on the prices. You're not going to be able to walk away with like billions of dollars to like the shareholder. We just have to rein
Off
it
of
in
a
a little bit.
natural resource.
I know.
Like that's what's crazy.
I know.
If you actually think about it, our world has gone insane. We've literally taken like water, for example, which is a natural resource. Nobody owns, like nobody should own water. Even people argue, like even the concept of land, right? It's, like, it's just insane that we're just like, okay, this is privately owned. What? Based on what?
Yeah.
Why do oil companies own the oil? Why?
Yeah.
Because we've allowed it to happen, and then we fuck over people in the process.
But then that's what I was going to say about like how in Norway they did that sovereign fund and the government has more control, whereas here they never did that, right? So we get fluctuated. I mean, we do have some, obviously our government does benefit from oil and gas, like they'll get tax revenue and stuff. But at the end of the day, because they don't do that or I don't know exactly how they do it in Norway, but like we are really exposed to boom and bust cycles.
Oh, so badly.
Yeah, like
because we see it as a private product
exactly
when it shouldn't be seen as that.
Exactly. But I do think it's just like the more I think about it, the more I like see these like TikTok videos, but also just like in general, like I've seen so many things lately, which really has started making me think about this too, which I kind of already thought about it anyway, but it was quite interesting because, you know, quite often like proponents of like not increasing minimum wage or not, you know, supporting the unions and doing all this kind of stuff. A lot of those people will be like, oh, you know, those union people are just getting so greedy. Like they don't understand, like if their cost of wages go up, everything else has to go up and blah, 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 blah. And it's like part of that's true, but then part of it is also when is we as a society going to turn around and be like, actually, hang on a second, all of you fucking billion-dollar companies.
Yeah.
That's not okay anymore. You can't, because what essentially is happening, guys, is like there's this wealth transfer, right? Like these resources that are earning billions of dollars, really the profits are going into a select few people that are accumulating wealth. That's ultimately what's happening all over the world.
While everyone's suffering.
Exactly. So like even all this inflation and stuff, people that are billionaires, like this isn't even a reality to them.
Oh, it's so crazy.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like they're in their own universe. And I'm not, I don't know. God, this stuff's
it's
just
insane. Well, what's also insane is that it doesn't help. Like we always talk about, it's like if people have less money to spend, it doesn't stimulate the economy.
Well, exactly.
If people make more money where they can spend more money, they're going to spend more money. Exactly.
Like I'm sorry, but like even take Calgary as like an example. If things keep getting more and more expensive here, and the middle class starts getting pressed, and the middle class is generally the largest amount of people, right? Like versus how the super wealthy and people that are kind of in poverty. If the middle class gets pushed and more of those people are getting closer to that like poverty line or to the really struggle city, if you will, like restaurants are going to suffer, cafes are going to suffer, coffee shops are going to suffer, and we're going to start seeing these businesses, and we're already kind of starting to see it. Businesses shutting down because they're not getting enough traffic. Because guess what? You know, as soon as it starts impacting like us as well, we're like thinking, okay, well, hang on a second, maybe I would go out for dinner, I don't know, 3 times a week. I don't know how often, like 2-3 times a week. I'm going to start reducing that as soon as that's like more impacting me. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm thinking twice about going out. My groceries are so fucking expensive now. Like maybe I go out once a week, and then that just catapults, right? So it's not good for anyone, guys.
Nope.
It's a scary, sad situation for all of us.
Anyway, so Biden, he's forgiving some loans. So let us know what you think of that.
What are your thoughts on this, guys?
If you're from the United States of America, it's crazy.
It is crazy as hell. And kind of going hand in hand with this is another interesting concept that's going on right now. I don't know if you've heard about it. Well, Rose, I think we talked about it briefly.
What'd it be?
The concept of quiet quitting.
Oh, yeah. Quiet quitting. So I saw this on TikTok.
Of course you did.
I'm sure you also saw it on TikTok.
I also did, but I also heard about it before TikTok.
Yeah. So first of all, I feel like the term is very misleading.
It is.
It's not a very good term. I don't know who came up with it.
Because essentially
it's not quitting at all.
No.
It's doing the job.
Yeah. It's basically like people being like, you know what? I'm not going to work my, I'm not going to be so invested and work until I'm going to die, basically. Not like work until I'm going to die, but I'm not going to, what am I trying to say?
It says, though definitions vary, quiet quitting essentially refers to clocking in when you're expected to, doing your assigned tasks and leaving on time and not taking extra work outside your regular hours, aka working.
Yeah. But the expectation now is to do more or go over and above.
Well,
right?
that's crazy.
Yeah. So now so many people are like, you know what? I don't want to live that stress. And then it says here, it's not about slacking off on the job, but rather setting boundaries to prevent burnout, which I think is actually pretty good. But I did see this thing on TikTok where people were like quiet quitting, or maybe it's not the right term because this makes more sense to me.
Quiet quitting is a bad, I don't know who came up with the term quiet quitting.
Exactly. But it was like they were talking about these people that were doing the bare minimum at their job just to do like
well, that's not even the bare minimum. That's doing the job.
Yeah. So this is
like
doing
bare minimum is like you're not really trying that hard.
True.
Right.
But because of remote work and everything, I saw this thing where people were advocates are like doing the bare minimum at their job and literally working 4 or 5 full-time jobs, doing the bare minimum at all of them.
Oh.
And somehow like working all the jobs.
What?
Yeah.
So basically like kind of slacking off.
Yeah.
On
in every
job.
single job until you get fired from one, and then it's fine because you have 4 other jobs.
Oh my, first of all, who is finding 5 jobs?
I don't know. It was crazy. I remember seeing this thing where this guy on TikTok, guys, but this guy was like telling people about how he works. He worked like 3 or 4 different jobs, I think, at the time. So.
And he's making a TikTok. Did he show his face?
Mm-hmm.
Not so smart, are you, buddy?
No, he probably is not working at any of them now. But yeah, I think this actually to me makes more sense. Like it shouldn't be called quiet quitting. It should be called something like,
I don't know. I don't know what it should be. Just doing work.
Yeah.
Like don't go beyond what you are paid to do.
Exactly.
Which, like fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I think with that example of the guy having 5 jobs, that's quite interesting because it kind of brings up the concept of like, again, when we have these jobs, especially those 9-to-5 jobs, it's like, I've always complained about these 9-to-5 jobs. It's like you're sitting there giving your time for money. Yeah. It has very little to do with how much work you're doing in that time. Yeah. Because I remember when I used to work at these 9-to-5 jobs, they didn't give me enough work to sit there for fucking 8 hours a day. Yeah. But I had to sit there for 8 hours a day. Yeah. Just because I could have definitely done 3 or 4 jobs in that time. Yeah. So sure, like I'll do it. Yeah. Because if I have to sit there anyway, that's the expectation. But they're not giving me any extra work.
Exactly. And they're not giving you any extra money. So why not earn another full-time salary?
Yeah. And like, why am I going to be, because I work relatively quickly. Mm-hmm. So if I can finish my job in 2 hours, what's the difference between someone that takes 8 hours to do what I do and 2 hours to do what I do? Yeah. And why should I get paid any less? Mm-hmm. It's interesting because again, for some reason, we've decided time is, where we exchange money. But at the same time, there isn't enough work sometimes to fill the 40 hours a week you're expected to at an office job. Yeah. So half the time, and like if you ever work, I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you worked at an office, you know what I'm talking about. It's like half the people are just dicking around half the time.
Oh my God, I know.
Like you're just standing in the, in the kitchen, fucking chatting beside the water cooler, whatever.
The water cooler chat.
Yeah. And then you're just like, going for walks and coffee chats, having all these pointless meetings where you have
so many meetings.
Fucking office talk. It's so like there's so much wasted time, but the productivity is not. That's why they say if you reduce the work hours to 6 hours a day, people become sometimes more productive. Yeah, or another proponent of that is which they're kind of like talking about as well, is to reduce it down to a 4-day work week. Yes, because again, you're not working the 40 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, let's fucking face it. I know. I remember there was a lady that started she was working at the firm that I worked at before. Yeah. And she worked 4 hours. She worked 4 days a week. That was her like schedule and stuff. And she was like, it was amazing. She's like, if you can afford to, like, cause obviously she took 4/5 of her salary. Which is, again, crazy. Yeah. So she was like, and she was like, if you can afford to take a pay cut and just like work like one at less, it's so nice. Yeah. And I'm like, actually, it makes sense because then you're only working 4 days a week and 3 days of the week, it's your time. Exactly. And then the more rested you are more likely to perform better at your job.
Exactly.
And the thing is, whoever invented 2-day weekends, I'm sorry, you don't deserve anything nice, okay? What is 2 days?
I know.
2 days is not enough, okay? You work 5 days a week, okay? 5 days a week. And then you barely have, and the problem is you work during like, you know, the main hours of the day. So basically your whole day's gone. By the time you have breakfast, you have to go to work.
Yeah.
You come back from work, it's already dinner time. And then your day's gone. You're exhausted. You can't do anything. And then finally you get the sweet release of the weekend. And then maybe you get drunk one day, let's say. And then you have a day of being hungover and useless.
Yeah.
Which we should all have a day of being hungover and useless. And then we have 1 day to get our shit together and get back to work. Yeah. 1 day to prepare for the work week ahead.
It actually kind of stressed me out because like obviously me and Rose, we met up yesterday. Well, not
which
obviously. Which was Sunday to record a couple other episodes for this podcast while Rose was away. And honestly, like I got home, well, I went and saw my friend after. And then by the time I got home, I was like, oh my God, like I'm back at work tomorrow. And I was back at work today.
It's so fast.
I know. I was like, I honestly, I think future roles that I have, I might try to like negotiate, like to try to get like a 3 or 4 day work week or something, or even like a lot of companies, they'll do like every second Friday off.
Yes.
Even that is like better in my opinion.
Also, my opinion is you should just, what I would like to do is like, for example, at your company, that could be like, okay, why don't we try out a 4-day work week? And again, just test out the productivity, the amount of money made, the amount of clients acquired, the amount of work done. Yeah. Guaranteed, people are still going to do the same amount of work. Yeah. Because there's a principle in productivity where basically the amount of time you give someone to do a certain job and the amount of time you give yourself, you're going to get the same amount of work done in that time, which is why if you give yourself 2 weeks to do a project, you're going to take the whole 2 weeks. Yep. If you give yourself an hour to do a certain project, you're probably going to do it, of course, within reason. Within reason, right? It has
to be,
Yeah. But it's like, I mean, we all remember if we went to school and stuff, it's like having an essay due. And if we had like 2 days to do it, we do it usually in the 2 days. Yeah. But if we had a week to do it, we would just fumble about, you know.
Yeah. We would take the whole week to do it.
Exactly. And like the same thing happened like with when the pandemic was, you know, at its peak. We were all staying home. I was like, oh, I have so much time. I wasn't more productive. I was just like, you know, dicking around the whole time. I was like, I have so much time. It was so nice. I miss it. But
because it like as soon as it like not ended, like I mean, obviously COVID's still a thing, but like life just got so busy.
Oh my God, I know. I miss like just, you know, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Not that I did nothing, but it was so nice.
Yeah, but it was just like nice to even like know, because like a part of me, I still get like FOMO. So I'll be like, oh, if people are going out, and I'm just like, oh, I kind of want to go out, but then also, whereas when COVID was happening and whereas just at my parents' house, I was like, well, nothing else to do.
Let's just watch some Netflix.
Let's go for a walk.
Some Tiger King. Yeah. Oh, I miss like just pointless walks. I mean, I still do pointless walks.
Yeah,
like, I felt less guilty during that time.
Yeah, but isn't it one thing I think that's nice is like the things that we take away from that is like actually walking more and stuff. Like,
I know.
Just a new appreciation to like
new appreciation and like jogging outside, spending time outside. I still definitely do more of that. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. I honestly think because of COVID, these kind of things are happening. But people are becoming less like, you know, so like, oh my God, I have to like work really hard at my job. Yeah.
But also another thing that was interesting, and this happened at my firm as well, is a lot of the like, well, not just my firm, but a lot of companies around the world, they were like nervous about their whole workforce working from home, like remotely, because like some people are micromanagers or whatever else, and they were thinking, oh, you know, we're not going to be able to like get the job done and stuff. But I think the fact that everyone moved onto online and the work still got done at the same pace, if not even better, people were like, holy shit. Because now actually one of the nice things that's come out of it is a lot of companies are offering like a hybrid working model.
Oh, so nice.
So you can do like, you know, our office is mandated 3 days in the office, 2 days working from home.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So you can like kind of spend your time, like if you have like like an appointment or you have a plumber coming to your house, you can just work from home that day and like it's not such a big deal. Yeah. Especially one of the hard things I found always working Monday to Friday, like 9 to 5 jobs, is like little things that people that don't have that schedule take for granted. Like a lot of the time you need to go to the bank or do any of those, it's like the hours are like quite tight because like banks are only open until a certain amount of time, or like if you have to go like do certain things where it's like their hours don't go much later than 5, you're just always like fucked.
So annoying. You have to like leave early, like any sort of appointments, like dentist appointments, doctor appointments. I take those things for granted for sure. Yeah. Like I know for sure like my life is easier because I don't work the 9 to 5 hours and I can do stuff in that time.
Yeah, during the day.
And like even like going to the gym, for example, it's so much busier when you go during like in the morning before everyone goes to work or after work. work, everyone's like there, or lunchtime.
Yeah, lunchtime's crazy.
Yeah, that's where like everybody is, because everyone has to work those same hours. Again, it's just like, I don't know. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I think honestly,
we're fucking machines apparently.
I know. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, the next role that I get, whatever it might be, I think I'm going to try to like negotiate some kind of like
warning
thing.
Next employer of Daniels.
Yeah. That will be on the table. But it's true, like, honestly, and it's even saying right here, it's like there's apparently, again, in Canada, it's a tight job market. Attraction and retention of talent has increased importance since workers, they have more options. Job vacancies are high, and I guess they've climbed 3.2% in June from a month earlier. And
right, it's an employee market right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this has changed, because it used to be,
Yeah.
I feel like it used to be an employer market, and now it seems to be an employee market.
Well, I'm sure I can't remember when,
Yeah.
but I think for a while, especially since the pandemic, people have been having a hard time filling jobs.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, like people just, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. It's interesting because like even you were saying like for the cafe and stuff like
Yeah, for restaurant businesses,
Yeah.
it's insane.
But I think it's also corporate as well. Like there is
Again, are people just not working?
But
I'm
that's
so
what-
confused.
This is what I mean. Like all of these macro trends that happen, it's so hard for me to understand what's going on. Like in terms of like, we're talking about the rental market, how basically overnight it went from like being like offering incentives to being like, we're at a record
Yeah.
low 1% vacancy. And then like the job market as well. It's like since the pandemic, it's been so hard to fill certain roles, I think. It's like, what is everyone doing right now? Like, is everybody just like chilling?
I have no idea. Like, it's actually crazy.
Because like you still need to make money because everything's expensive.
I know.
now.
Why are you not working? I'm very confused.
Yeah, like guys, what are people doing? I just don't understand. Like, if you're not working
Yeah.
and not applying for anything, like what
And
are you
there's- and
actually?
It's not just office jobs. Yeah, like any sort of like service jobs.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard that people just got like sick of the service industry. But I'm like, aren't there university students that want to work those
Yeah.
jobs? Like I remember when I was in university, I worked service jobs.
It's like I've seen so many, like I can't think of a place recently that I've seen this in Calgary, but I remember seeing signs like this where it's like closed due to short staff.
Oh, there's a lot
Yeah.
of businesses like this
Yeah.
because
And I'm like,
it's true. Like
okay.
if you don't have enough staff, like you can't run your business.
Exactly.
That's insane.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Again, like, are these people, are they not eating? Like, what's happening?
I know. That's why I'm like, how is it
Somehow
happening?
they're renting because there's only 1% vacancy rate.
Yeah. But then think about how expensive groceries and everything are getting. Like,
Are they just living? Are they back at their parents' place? Like, what is going on? I
Who
want to
knows?
understand.
I know.
It's very confusing, but
very,
yeah,
very
apparently people
confusing.
are quiet quitting.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a funny term. You know, I think it's fine to do your job in the allotted time frame.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I always worked. I guess
Yeah.
I was always quiet quitting.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. You're a quiet quitter,
I
Rose.
did the bare minimum.
But the term quiet quitting, what I thought, like, is now reading this article and stuff,
I thought
like,
it meant people just that just ghosted their job.
basically they just do the very bare minimum whatsoever and in hopes of getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought quiet quitting was.
I mean,
it's
that
like
makes
you
more
don't
sense.
you don't actively quit. You kind of like passive aggressively
Right.
quit. Like just be like, yeah,
Quietly quit.
yeah, like you just don't deliver on your deadlines, don't do
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like this, and you're just like, whatever.
like somebody that wants to break up with someone but can't do it.
Exactly, you ghost
and then
them.
just like stop talking, like stop messaging them and stuff,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
say
yeah.
like one word answers until the other person breaks up with them.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me
Yeah.
when I first heard it. I was like, oh my god, people are like, are they like just not able to quit because they're
But
scared?
I think what's happened is there's like a mixture of things going on in the job market right now, and everyone's
Yeah.
kind of just branded as quiet quitting, like multiple things.
I hate this term.
I know. I also don't like it, guys.
Again, I don't even understand why this term is a thing. It's literally just people doing their jobs.
I vote for it not to be called quiet quitting.
Well,
I vote for it
that
be
this
called
should-
doing your job.
Yes, this shouldn't even be a trend. It's
I
just
know.
people doing their jobs.
But
I get that, like, you don't have to go up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that is the unreasonable expectation.
But that's the expectation of a lot of employers, is for you to go over and above. So I think that's why people are like thinking like this is a trend right now, doing your job.
Do you think most employers are expecting you to stay after work?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. God damn.
I would say, okay, like I don't know for sure, but I would imagine like most employers or big companies, they would expect like, I guess depending on what's going on, but they would expect you to stay after work.
God damn.
Yeah.
I know in Asia it's like that. It's fucked up.
But I think in Canada it's a little bit less. So it's more like, okay, if you're working on a project and there's a deadline,
Right.
then the expectation is that
you stay.
That you stay late
Yeah.
to deliver that deadline.
Let me see what else. What else was the quiet quitting thing about? It was like doing your assigned tasks. So basically just like not staying like late.
Yeah. So just being like, I'm not going to stay late whatsoever. Like even if there's a project or something, I will work really hard during the day, but I'm signing off of my computer
It's
at
called
like 4:35.
doing your job in the allotted time that your job is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Which fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think it's fair.
I think the term is stupid. I think it's just called doing your job.
I just love this. It's like I kind of mentioned this already, but like it's not about slacking, but it's just about setting boundaries.
Yeah, it's setting. There you go, setting boundaries.
Yeah,
that's all you need to do. And also, like these people, which I always say this, you need to understand that most of these jobs, I'm sorry, you are not saving lives. You are not performing heart surgery. Calm the fuck down. Some of you take your jobs way too fucking seriously. I'm sorry. You will not give a shit about whatever the job you're doing 20 years from now. So calm the fuck down.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing about this article. He's like, most employees understand that the nature of the working world means sometimes unexpected tasks come up, or an important deadline means a project that was supposed to be completed earlier in the days ends up going into the night. The problem is when those expectations become an everyday thing for that employer, everyday thing that the employer didn't clearly outline during the hiring process, or when an issue such as being perpetually understaffed was never brought up early on. You then have a job that's structured for burnout. So, I mean, I can see what this is. Like if you're in a job and it's like, you know, you're short staffed all the time and nobody stays around and, you know, you're constantly having to pick up the slack. It's like, you can only do that for so long. And then eventually you're going to burn out as well. So it's like important to kind of like balance that and understand that expectation.
Fair.
Another part of the equation pushing workers toward quiet quitting is the wage component. While wages have been rising, they haven't been keeping up with inflation.
So God, I guess that fucking I word, man.
I know. And that in a sense is like a lot of employees are like, well, you know what, if you're not going to pay me what's, you know, good, like with inflation and everything else, why am I staying late?
Exactly.
Why am I putting in my time when you're not going to pay me for it? So
yeah, what's insane is, I'm sorry, do most of these people even make overtime always? I don't think so.
A lot. It depends on the job, obviously, but like, if you're on a salary job, generally you don't make overtime.
And usually your salary job is also based on a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
So why are you working more?
Exactly.
And why should people expect you to work more? This needs to be a thing in Asia, okay, where the work culture is 10 times more toxic.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I know that, you know, obviously burnout is bad and we shouldn't overwork anywhere. But sometimes I look at Asia and I'm like, God, we live in a really nice fucking country because it's so bad in Asia in like every aspect. When people talk about like fat shaming, for example, in North America, I laugh because
you're like, no,
I know it's still a thing, but it's like, you know, it's like I've seen the worst. So when I come here, I'm like, oh my God, people here are so like, you know, like nobody fat shames here. Yeah. In Asia, it's like, it's so bad. It's the same thing with working. It's like people stay till 8, 9, 10 o'clock.
God.
You know, and
then back at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, it's crazy. And even students, the way that they treat their students, it's insane. Yeah. These are teenagers and they go to school and they're expected to like do the normal hours of school, and then they go to like, in Korea it's called hagwon. It's basically like going school? It's an after school thing. It's basically school.
Yeah.
And then they stay there until like 10, 11 o'clock at night.
When do they have time to play with their friends?
They don't play with their friends. They have to go to school. It's crazy. It's crazy. And that's normal in Korea. Like if you don't go to hagwon, that's like not normal.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be behind. It's so hyper competitive. And then kids are depressed and they're under exercised. It's so many issues. So that's why, again, like we had it so good here in terms of, and again, I don't want to be one of those people who's like, it's so much better here, but it is. But I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't improve here.
Of course. Yeah.
But man, if some of this attitude went into Asia, oh my God. Groundbreaking. But
God damn.
You know, it's a toxic ass place sometimes.
And on that positive note,
you guys, let us know what you think of any of the stories we talked about. What do you think of the term quiet quitting? I don't like it.
I know.
It's called doing your job.
Yep. It's not quiet quitting because you're not technically quitting and you're not being quiet.
Let's not. Yeah, you're definitely not being quiet if you're on TikTok.
You're doing your job and you're doing what you're assigned to do.
Exactly. Like, you should all just do freelance work, honestly.
Oh God, I'm like debating. I need to become like a consultant or something
because
for myself.
So crazy. Exactly. And then like, and again, that's the difference. I think what's crazy is like once I started working for myself, I realized like, okay, when I actually work, I'm actually working. Yeah. I'm not just like, you know, my previous employers are probably like, were you just doing nothing? Yeah. Well, listen, I was always a good worker.
Yeah, you were like,
because yes,
you got like people were like, "Oh my God, Rose, you're doing so much. Like, thank you."
And I'm like, I've literally done nothing. What is I thought I was doing the bare minimum.
No, but it does make me wonder, because like every job that I've had, and I don't think I'm like the best employee ever, but like I remember I had some temp jobs, and this was like a long time ago. And I worked at this one company. They're actually not here in Calgary anymore, but I worked at this one company, and just for like, I don't know, it was like 3 weeks or like a month helping with like a bunch of different projects and stuff. And literally as a temp, like I was, doing not the bare minimum, but I was like just doing enough.
You thought you were doing the bare minimum.
I thought I was doing the bare minimum. I was like, hey, I'm just coming in here.
But the bare minimum is difficult for a lot of people.
And they were like, the HR manager was like,
they're like, oh my God.
Yes.
Please stay.
They were like trying to offer me like they wanted me to come back, all this stuff. And I was like, who has worked for you before? Like one of the tasks was like filing. And I was like, who has worked for you before?
Well,
like,
as someone that has hired multiple people in the past few years, let me just tell you that what is out there is scary. So that is why. Like it is insane how bad some people are.
Yeah, speaking of hiring and employee drama, you should check out our Patreon exclusive for August,
because
guys.
I dropped some tea. I spilled some tea, you
Rose
guys.
spilled some hot tea.
About some people I've hired in the past.
In the past, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Check it out at
check it out.
patreon.com/the SaVeg Podcast.
Yeah, if you want the employer's perspective on some of these things, because sometimes, especially as a small business, it's challenging.
It's a different world out there.
It's
for
a different
them
world.
Small businesses. Guys, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up. Show some love in the comment section down under. Check us out on Patreon, as we mentioned, patreon.com/the SaVeg Podcast. We're also on TikTok. We're also on Instagram at the SaVeg Podcast. And yeah, if you're watching or listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow button. Then that way you will get updated as soon as these episodes go live on the
and
public
give us a
platform.
rating.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, you guys. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.